What's up, Taiwan? I'm Joyce coming to you from Taipei with the latest news. A Chinese social media influencer living in Taiwan has had her residency revoked. Authorities say she poses a national security threat because of pro-unification videos she posted online. Cadence Caranta has been following this story and joins us now from our newsroom. Cadence, how is the government able to take away someone's residency like this?
Yeah, so as you said, this is about a Chinese influencer known as Yaya in Taiwan. She has a Taiwanese residency card because she's married to a Taiwanese citizen and she lives in Taiwan, but importantly, she's not a Taiwanese citizen. And the Taiwan's Immigration Bureau has said that she's posted videos on social media advocating for the unification of China and Taiwan with the use of force. And if you look at her social media, a lot of her videos are about cross-strait issues and unification. Let's take a look at one of those videos.
根据反分裂国家法的第8条，台独分裂势力以任何名义、任何方式造成台湾从中国分裂出去的事实，国家得采取非和平方式及其他必要措施，捍卫国家主权和领土的完整。大陆武力统一台湾已经不需要其他的理由了呀。
So it's videos like this that have worried authorities here. Taiwan's Immigration Bureau has revoked her residency, and it says she will have to leave Taiwan and she won't be able to apply for another residency card for 5 years. Today, this is what one Taiwanese official said about the decision.
所有的台湾人都知道，言论自由不是天上掉下来的礼物，也不是武力统战或者是武力侵犯台湾的借口。台湾社会呢，你触犯到言论自由的底线，然后触犯到我们法律底线的话，我们希望用这个法律的规定来予以严格处理。
So why is this controversial? The influencer says that if she can't say what she wants to online, then what is the meaning of free speech in Taiwan? And she also says that she lives in Taiwan, so no one wants peace more than her between the two sides. The government is constantly trying to combat what they say is Chinese propaganda and infiltration of Taiwan. And this just highlights what they have to balance between trying to maintain freedom of speech and trying to protect their own sovereignty.
Thanks, Cadence. That was Cadence Caranta live in Taipei. Taiwan's Great Recall movement continues with dozens of opposition lawmakers now one step closer to getting voted out. Tiffany Wong joins us live from the legislature in Taipei. Tiffany, where do these recall campaigns stand?
As of Wednesday, there are campaigns to remove 34 legislators, all from the KMT, that have moved forward in the recall process. That means they passed the first stage of getting 1% of voters' signatures in their constituency to support these campaigns. And these have all been verified by the Central Election Commission. There are 4 other campaigns against ruling Democratic Progressive Party lawmakers that have not yet passed that first stage. However, they've been given extra time to remedy some signatures and paperwork in their petitions. Now, these campaigners have started to move forward in the second stage of the recall process, especially in Taipei and New Taipei City, trying to get the signatures of 10% of constituents in their districts to succeed in this second stage of the recall process. Now, this is a massive recall movement that was spurred by the ruling Democratic Progressive Party's frustrations at not being able to pass any bills in the legislature because they've been blocked by the opposition. And the DPP caucus whip called for a crusade against opposition lawmakers, which eventually spurred recall campaigns against 50 lawmakers across parties. But as I said earlier, only 30-something campaigns against KMT lawmakers have so far made it past the very first stage.
So you said these recall motions just made it to the second stage. How likely is it that these lawmakers will lose their seats?
Well, recalls are still a really difficult process in Taiwan. Only one lawmaker has ever been successfully removed in this manner before. And that 10% requirement in this second stage is no easy feat. And the election officials will definitely be looking closely at the signatures and paperwork here. So it is possible that some of the campaigns will end at this second stage. But if there are any that move forward into the third and final process, that is when these officials' status will officially be put to a vote, and campaigners will need the support of 25% of voters in their district to successfully remove these officials. But that is also a huge task in Taiwan because there's no such thing as absentee voting here. People have to return to their hometowns and physically hand in the ballots in person to submit their vote. And this whole process will take months, if any of them even make it to that stage. We're not likely to see any voting until the fall. But until then, these campaigns will definitely keep legislators on edge.
Thanks, Tiffany. That was Tiffany Wong reporting at the legislature. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is on his way to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. The 79-year-old is facing charges of crimes against humanity over his now infamous war on drugs that left thousands dead. His arrest and extradition has split Philippine society, but those who lost relatives in the crackdown are at last finding some closure. John Van Trieste reports.
A jet with former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte on board takes off from Manila to cheers from people on the ground. These aren't well-wishers. They're saying good riddance. Duterte's on his way to The Hague to face charges over the killing of alleged drug dealers and users during his time in office from 2016 to 2022. Thousands may have been killed without ever facing trial. But Duterte's outraged supporters are here too, backing his daughter, the current vice president, who says his arrest on Tuesday was illegitimate. Under Duterte, the Philippines withdrew from the very international criminal court that's now set to try him.
There is no legal basis at all to turn over or to endorse the president, the former president, to ICC. So, wala silang kung para sila sa justice at sa batas. Walang batas.
Until recently, it looked like the Philippines wouldn't cooperate with the court. The Duterte family had struck an alliance with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., and he long insisted Duterte would be protected. But that alliance has fallen apart. The president now says the arrest had to happen, even if the Philippines rejects the court's jurisdiction.
Interpol asked for help, and we obliged because we have commitments to the Interpol, which we have to fulfill. If we don't do that, they will no longer help us with other cases involving Filipino fugitives abroad.
But for the families of those killed, Duterte's extradition is about more than politics. At a candlelit church service in Manila, they mourned some of the countless victims, those who at least have someone to remember them. For many, Duterte's arrest brings a small sense of justice.
For the first time, ngayon lang ako nakaramdam ng ganitong kaligayahan dahil sa wakas, yung hinaasam-asam ko na katarungan para sa kapatid kong pinatay, sinagot na, unang-una ng Panginoon, nagpapasalamat ako kasi talagang dinidig niya lahat ang aming mga panalangin para lang mangyari ang lahat ng ito.
The debate over Duterte's arrest, whether it's justice or an injustice, is far from over. But for families like these, so is the pain of what they lost during his time in office, whether the charges against him stick or not. Hank Hsu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. President Donald Trump is walking back a threat to double tariffs on Canadian metals just hours after announcing the plan. Canada's province of Ontario had planned to levy a 25% duty on electricity exports to the U.S., but reversed course after Trump announced plans to tariff Canadian steel and aluminum at 50%. Washington's original 25% levy on the metals is still going into effect. The U.S. and Canada have been locked in a trade dispute, with both sides threatening to retaliate in response to Trump's aggressive economic policy. Anxiety over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff threats is simmering here in Asia. South Korea says Trump's America First policies are targeting its country, while Japan says it's failed to secure tariff exemptions from the U.S. For more on how Trump's economic policy is impacting this part of the world, earlier I spoke with Sung-Soo Kim, a visiting professor in Taipei from South Korea's Yonsei University. In response to Trump's tariffs, Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan, all key U.S. allies and partners in Asia, they say they're trying to find win-win agreements. What exactly does that look like, and what do these countries need to do to make that happen?
We are in a very difficult situation because Trump is trying to raise tariff against Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. Although, Taiwan promised a strong investment recently between, TSMC and US. And also Japan promised a strong investment. Ishiba had a summit with Trump. They promised a $1 trillion investment. But Trump is still trying to put countries in a difficult situation for further negotiation. Economic, relationship and security is a trade-off in the US mindset. So they are demanding more investment and more stronger ties in the United States, in turn providing a security to these countries. For US, what's really important is that they win the battle of AI against China or any other country. So that's the top priority that US is focusing on, and which they're asking the cooperation of Taiwan, Korea, Japan to be cooperative in that roadmap.
These three countries are obviously each important to the global chip sector. Aside from tariffs, though, Trump has also talked about getting rid of Biden's CHIPS Act subsidy program. How serious is this for Asian firms in the sector?
I think that US will not totally get rid of the CHIPS Act. Trump is just saying that they will decide the amount of subsidies based on how much investment each countries make in US. Actually, by pressuring Taiwan, US is getting into a better position negotiating with South Korea because they're giving a strong message that even Taiwan that has invested this much will still have problems, giving a strong message to Korea and Japan that the investments should be more, cooperative and realistic in their terms.
And how far can Trump go on his threats? At what point does he need these partners on his side?
So the priority is to find a middle ground between, US and these countries in negotiation. Korea, Taiwan, and Japan are the key players of supplying those most essential semiconductors to run the high-tech industry in the United States. So without these three countries, US high-tech industry does not function, or any global high-tech industry will not function. US is considering these three countries very, very important as an economic partner and also a science and technology partner, and also by providing security, because they can't grow without these countries.
That was Sung-Soo Kim, visiting business professor at National Taiwan University. China, Iran, and Russia are flexing their military might, holding joint naval drills in the Middle East. It's the fifth straight year the three nations have carried out these exercises, this year in the Gulf of Oman, near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. A fifth of all crude oil traded globally passes through the narrow waterway. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Be sure to visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, we take you to the final night of the Rio Carnival. I'm Joyce. Take care and see you next time.
For more more stories from Taiwan, around the world, and Washington, D.C., please download the TaiwanPlus app and follow us on social media.